for a Super Bowl, not just win games and compete, Barrett, but to win Super Bowls, you've got to have money invested in those three positions. The middle, Barrett Brooks, Dan Sileo. Please hit the like button. So they cut a tight end without telling him or telling the head coach he was cut. Man, this shit has gone on from your time to today with the lack of communication from the front office. Nothing's changed, just the headers on the front door, dude. I mean, is this how he's run that organization, Laurie, since he's bought the team in 95?
Yeah, I was his first draft class. Mike Williams was his first pick, Bobby Taylor, then myself. And it's been, I mean, to me, that's all I knew. You know, so I didn't see anything wrong with it because that's what I was used to seeing. Bro, it was times, man, that, and you have to understand too, the relationship between the guys upstairs and Ray Rose wasn't good either. You know, like Ray wanted guys, like we had guys that were, you know, that were driving trucks the week before. We had one guy that was what was Johnson's first name? I forget. He was a defensive lineman back then. He was working at a liquor store. He was working at his father-in-law's liquor store 3 days before he was taken. He brought him in to play. We had guys that were driving trucks the week before, you know, driving semis the week before.
So all these coaches have had awful divorces from the organization, including Andy Reid.
Yes. Well, Andy didn't have necessarily an awful divorce. They parted ways very amicably, you know, from what I saw. You know, it was time for
you think both wanted a different, they just wanted a different looking. Okay.
Yeah, they did, because there's a lot of stuff going on in Andy Reid's life at that point.
Yep, kids.
With his kids, yeah. And then you know, this city, right? You know, this is a different type of city to play for. You know, the expectations are always going to be, you know, that they want to win. And that's, you know, that's with every organization. But it's not always if you're winning, it's how you win.
You think it's a 10-year rule?
No, because if you're producing, they'll love you here. But it's Andy stayed here, what, 14 years?
Yeah, I think so.
Years? Something 14. Like that. Ray stayed 4. Who else was out there? Chip stayed 2.
Doug was 4,
Doug
right?
was
or 5?
4. Yep, 4 or 5. And then, you know, we got Nick right now.
So would it be fair to say, outside of Andy Reid, that the longevity of an NFL coach is about the longevity of an NFL player?
Well, yeah, the NFL player, or it's almost like the stint of you being in college. You know what I'm saying? The player in college.
How they look at coaches. They look at coaches like players.
Well, I mean, you can be replaced so easily.
But they want to see the reason why these general managers, when you have that kind of power, Barrett.
Kevin Savard said, Chip stayed 2 years too long.
He sure did. He sure did. Listen, but Barrett, it's like the organization and the owners believe this is almost like the last dance. Jordan arguing with Jerry Krause and Jerry Reinsdorf, where they believe that organizations win championships. There is no question the Philadelphia Eagle organization is run like the Chicago Bulls were, when the Chicago Bull front office always thought that they were the reason for championships. And I'll say this to you. When you have a guy like Jordan and you have Pippen and quite frankly, Tony Kukoc, Jerry Krause was a jackass. However, he did find the talent. He did bring Pippen in. He did get Rodman to come to Chicago. He did find Horace Grant. He did find all these guys. But Jordan's his attitude was, yeah, but we got to go out and play.
And that's
we got to go out and win. And so do organizations win championships, or do the players win the championships?
To me,
it's like the chicken and the egg conversation. What do you think?
To me, it's the players. The players win championships. And there's this reason why I said, you look at a team like I saw in Washington, where they brought in every superstar there was. They brought in, it was Dion. They brought in Smith, defensive end Bruce Smith. I mean, they had an all-star team there. Woodson.
Eagles did that a couple years ago too,
with
right?
the dream team.
Won them dudes.
Namely DRC. They had a
Vince Carter or Vince Young.
Vince Young. They had the Freak. They had a team that you took, a superstar from each team, and you put them in there, and it's a melting pot. Well, that pot didn't melt. Those crayons didn't melt. They stayed whole. You know what I'm saying? So they never really became a team. It's up to that head coach and the players to create, some good soup. You can't just put guys together and they'd be okay. You got to have a locker room which presses the envelope on being a team concept type of locker room. That's why that Eagles team won, not because of the players that they had there. I mean, not because of the players that the GM brought there, but how Doug got these guys to play together is why, because it was next man up. You know what I'm saying? And you can say, all right, that has a lot to do with, the players they brought in. Yes, that's always the case because, you bring the players in, but you can't always make these guys play together. You can't always make these guys mix and want to play for each other. And that's the thing that, the Eagles, it'd be scary if they start getting away from that.
And to your point, that's what Phil Jackson, that Last Dance documentary was so great because Gordon said that here's Phil with all these dishes that he's juggling here and he's doing all this. With all of this, he's dealing with the front office. And it's funny because that front office fired Phil Jackson because they didn't want to give him the $3 million and they didn't want to listen to him on what he needed because the front office always believed that they knew better than Phil. And they looked at Phil as just another dude, okay? And Phil's balancing. And like you said, Phil Jackson's greatest strength as a coach wasn't his evaluation of talent. He had ready-made players. But you know what his strength was, Barrett? Taking all those dishes and juggling them, putting people in the right position. Let's not forget Kobe and Shaq. They stunk out loud before. I mean, Rudy T couldn't get them anywhere, and Rudy T won 2 championships in Houston, and they couldn't do anything. So that I'm just making the comparison with the front office of Philadelphia here. Philly believes the coach is just another piece on the chessboard, like we were talking yesterday. They don't believe the head coach is like a Jimmy Johnson or a guy like Bill Parcells or a guy like Bill Belichick would never make it in Philadelphia.
No. Number one, they couldn't handle it. No, not being able to say what ingredients they want in their dish. Oh no, hell no. They wouldn't be having that. You couldn't tell them they couldn't bring in an a player that they wanted. And oh, we're not doing that. He'd be like, "What? What you mean you're not doing that?" And they have the time to do that because Nick is a young coach. Nick is just getting, his feet wet as far as being a head coach.
That's why he got the job. Right.
That's why Doug got the job. Doug was coaching high school until Andy Reid went and got him from high school and made him, offensive coordinator, just because he was with Doug when he was in Philly, gave him that opportunity. And then when the job came up the very next year, of course, Andy Reid gave him his blessing to go do it. And then, just from him being in the organization, they were able to mold him. They feel as though they molded him into the coach he was.
Man, that's crazy. I mean, Ray Rhodes didn't know that a player was cut on his team, and that communication issue. Kid need more money? Kid need more money?
Right. Right.
Yeah. Hey, what do you need, honey?
Right. Well, it's my middle daughter's birthday today.
It's your what?
My middle daughter's birthday. She turns 30
shout out
today.
to that.
Yeah, man. She turns 30 today. And by the way, it's true. I mean, I appreciate you guys. My man, New Jersey fishing maniac. I'll be 40. I'll be 50. I'll be 50 in May. May 5th, I'll be 50 years old, man. He said,
how do you feel about that?
Bro, I mean, I've hit the whole half-century mark, man. I'm just blessed to just be here, bro. There's a lot of times in my life, man. I didn't think I was gonna be here, bro.
No.
I'm telling you.
I'm with you, man. Hey, I'm going like this now, man. I'm up there in like the late 50s now, man, and I'm going
Yeah.
like this. I mean, jeez, man, you're kidding me. I never thought I'd get past 40. I never thought I'd get past 40, man.
Right. Bro, I mean,
The
that's
shit
crazy,
I've done
man.
in my life and where I've been, the people I've been, I mean, dude, I've been to here. I'm gonna tell you so. I'll tell you a small secret here. I've been to the White House,
Me
and
too.
I've been to another White House
Yeah.
in Dallas.
I've been there too.
and get this, and I was serving tea to the boys over at the Bergen Fish and Hunt Club.
I've been there.
I'm gonna leave it there. All right, okay. If you guys know anything about Bensonhurst, okay, South Philly guys, you probably know a little bit about
Yes, sir.
about Bensonhurst, man. So if you know anything like that, I've seen it all, dog. I mean, and to see here, man, my wife goes like this, man. I can't believe you're still walking,
Bro. Can you believe that? I have my middle daughter, my middle kid.
That's spectacular. Good
Turns
for you.
30 today. 30
Man.
today.
30 today, man. That's fantastic, man. Well, happy birthday, man.
Yes,
All right, let me ask you something here. Tell me the 3 positions you think a football team needs to be successful. Can I give you mine first?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think you have to have, and these are the positions you have to spend money at. Quarterback.
And always number one.
Today, wide receiver.
Yeah.
And a pass rusher.
Yeah.
Those are the only 3 positions that I'm going to spend a cake load of money on for what I need to do, because I'm looking at how the Rams and the Bucks, and I'm looking at the new NFL, because teams throw the ball 40 times a game. I used to think the wide receivers, I told you this a couple days ago, I used to think they were the icing on the cake. I think they're part of the cake now.
Yeah, they're part of that ingredients now. They're definitely
part of the ingredients. I used to think they were just dudes. You could get them anywhere. And you have to have that quarterback. Am I wrong that you have to spend money on those 3 positions if you want to be a contender for a Super Bowl? Not just win games and compete, Barrett, but to win Super Bowls, you've got to have money invested in those 3 positions.
Yes, but I would add. To me, this is what my list would be. Number 1, just like you said, a quarterback. Number 2, I would need somebody to rush the quarterback. And number 3, I would need somebody to be the blind side of that quarterback. So everything's related to the quarterback, whether it's a guy rushing him or it's a guy protecting him from the guy rushing him. Those are my 3 main. Yeah, so you're going to pay your quarterback, you're going to pay your defensive rush in, and you're going to play your left tackle, or, when you got a left-handed quarterback, your right tackle. You're going to pay to keep those guys healthy. And that's how I would, build it. I would definitely spend money in those 3 positions, period.
I've always said this to people. That's why you don't see a lot of left-hand quarterbacks in the NFL, because the majority of the time, the roster's built for a right-handed quarterback.
Yep.
And you invest all that money in that left side offensive tackle, the blind side guy. When you have a left-handed quarterback, do you understand that the entire offensive huddle is turned inside out? And everything is reversed. And to sit there and think, see, Barrett was able to, because he worked at it, to play right guard, left guard. Man, there's different feet. There's different hand shooting.
Yep.
There's different stances. Your shoulders are different. You're worried more about the outside. There's so many different techniques.
Your power angles.
Something that you practiced your whole life for, and how you hit a guy in a 3 technique. Now you have to turn around and go over to the left guard position. Bro, people don't realize. Barrett, I'll tell you one of the reasons that it really hurt me. I couldn't put my left hand down. Okay?
Yeah.
I just, because you know why? They put me in the left defensive tackle position, and when I had my right hand down, I was always comfortable. Then when they moved me over and I had to play on the other side and put my left hand down, that's a whole different That's a whole different getting
Yep.
off the ground and doing that. It's something that didn't come natural, and I should have worked at it more, was being able, since Jerome was great at that. He could put his left hand or right hand down. It didn't matter. He could play versatile sides. And as you know, hey, offensive guard, you got to put a different hand down. It's a different shoot, isn't it, when you're going to go punch?
It's a different way of your mind has to play different, play your body differently also, because it means a different power point. You know, you got to be strong on the inside, and now you've switched that inside to the side that's not your strong arm. That's tough, man. And you know, people don't really understand also that when you have a left-handed quarterback, the offensive coordinator has to call things differently in his head also. You know, usually you run sprint right option. So, your receiver on your right side, when he runs that little out route on sprint right option, now he has to go to the left side and run that on the left side sprint left option. Everybody has to go a different way, so it changes up everything, how you call plays, how you how you line up your personnel, how the guys running routes have to change, to being the strong side, being the left side. You would think it'd just be easy, but it's not. Some guys really get messed up. That's why a lot of the teams don't flip-flop their receivers. They'll keep the receivers on the same side unless you have a dominant playmaking receiver that does both sides. They don't even flip-flop. I know corners don't usually flip-flop. Corners usually stay on the left side of the field or the right side of the field, depending on how good your corners are. Sometimes, the best corner has to follow the best player, but usually they stay left and right, So, I mean, it's when you deal with those type of issues, when you're calling defense, you're calling an offense, it's different, man. It's different, how you defend guys, how you approach attacking defenses, man, because when I first moved to left tackle, I had never played left tackle. I played left my entire career. I played left when I got to college. All through college, I got the Eagles. I played left for my first 2 years there. Then all of a sudden, my first 3 years there, and all of a sudden, my last year there, here comes Trey. Now I had to flip sides because Trey came in and solidified that left tackle for the next 12 years. You know what I mean? So I have to move to right tackle if I wanted to play. So if I wanted to get on the field, I wanted to compete for a position on the team and be a starter, I had to go in and beat out the right tackle that was already there. I eventually did it, but that's just one of the things. Then I went to Detroit. Detroit, I was starting at right tackle. You know what I mean? So I mean, I took it as, all right, then this is going to be a challenge. I got to figure this out. But it took me a while, man. It took me at least a solid 3 weeks before I was really comfortable coming out of that set and changing my feet up. And I was working on it even when I wasn't at practice. That's working on it when I was at home, going out in the yard and just doing right-handed sets. I just had to get committed to muscle memory. That was tough, man. Trying to commit to muscle memory when you've done this your entire life. Now you switched everything up. Now my left hand is now my power hand, and my right hand has to be the hand that I fight with, as opposed to it being my left-handed. It was tough, man. It was real tough. Even though I was dominant, I was a right-handed guy. I played left so much that my left hand started being my dominant fighting. Like I would lead. I shoot a gun with my left hand. You know what I'm saying? I did a lot of stuff with my left just because of that. You know what I'm saying?
Let me show you this here, just to prove your point before we go to break here. Boomer Esiason at 24 is the 24th ranked in passing yardage in NFL history. He's the first left-hander. And then after that, there's no left-hander except for Steve Young down at number 84. You know how many Hall of Fame quarterbacks there are that are left-handed? I believe Stabler and Young are the only two.
Yep.
Just to show you that the league doesn't believe. And so that's why you say with Tua down in Miami, left-handers traditionally don't have success in the National Football League.
Yeah.
When it comes to winning a bunch of games. Okay, I got something for you here. I want to ask you something about if the head coach and the front office look at Nick Sirianni, how much input is he going to have in this upcoming NFL draft? I want to ask you that, Barrett. Guys, hit the like button. Keep it here on the middle. Back in 3.